Good morning and welcome, y'all. Ian Sanders with Healthcare Unlocked and Team Oasis Financial Services. We're going to go through how to form a complete offering for our client. So some people call this cross-selling. I like to say complete offering because you want to cover the client as completely as possible within their budget and also cover all the things that they are concerned about. That's what this whole game is about, is finding out what their concerns are and finding solutions to make sure that those concerns are taken care of. Now, this can be one of the scariest things for most new agents. But what we're going to do is show you step by step how to ask the correct questions and really simplify what you need to do so that you're not only helping cover the client in the best way possible, but also helping yourself out at the same time financially by not having to sell as many policies just to get to where you want to be, whatever your financial goals are. It's just advantageous for both you and for your client if you're able to find all the different concerns that they have and you're able to become a one-stop shop for them and solve as many problems as possible. So if you like what you see here, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. It does help get this out to more people. The more agents that are able to learn these things and be able to serve their clients in a much better way, the more it's going to benefit all of us. All right. So what we're going to do is take a quick look at the health script, and it's a complete cross-selling script is what we call it. And to get there, let me just show you guys how to get there really quick. So if you're on the website, you'll go into broker resources, and then it'll take you down to this, and you'll click on tools, and then you'll click resource library. And what that's going to do is take you into the OneDrive, and you'll click on health, and then you'll navigate over to scripts, and you'll do the cross-selling script here. And so that's what we're looking at. Now, we're not going to start and go from the top of the script down. We're just going to touch on the things that matter the most. And one of the biggest questions that you'll need to ask is you need to find out what their budget is so that you know how much they're able to spend on their health insurance. You don't want to just go ahead and throw everybody into a zero cost plan thinking that it's going to be the best for them, because that may not be the best coverage for them and you may do more harm than good. So the first thing that you need to do is ask, currently after bills and expenses, what do you feel you have left over at the end of the month? Now, once you figure that out, what you're going to do next is ask, of that, about how much are you able to spend on health insurance? A range is fine, just to give me an idea of what to look for. Now, the reason that these are important questions is because you really need to know exactly how much the client expects to spend. Now, sometimes they may have no idea. Sometimes they say, hey, you know what, I only have about $20-$30. Sometimes they may say $200-$400. And if that's the case, you don't ever want to try just to match that, but you want to see if you can get as many things that are of concerns of theirs covered within whatever that budget is. So now there's going to be a few other questions here that are going to really help you out as far as figuring out what's going to be a good fit for that client. Now, one of the big ones is, if you had to choose between these different types of coverage, which would you prefer, an expensive plan that covers everything or a plan that costs less but you pay more only if something happens? If they're saying they want to make sure that everything's covered, you know that you need to get a more comprehensive type plan. And then you want to collect basic things like height and weight. You want to figure out if they want to keep their doctors and things like that. So number 8 here is a really important question. Do you have anything in place to help pay the bills if you're unable to work due to a serious illness or injury? Now, this is going to be a really, really important question. And the reason for that is because you have to get the client thinking about things that they normally wouldn't think about. So let's say you put them in a zero cost plan. They get sick, they go to the hospital. Now they have an out-of-pocket maximum that they have to meet and they're unable to work. That may put them in a really bad spot. So they may actually be concerned about making sure that if they're in the hospital for something major, or they get injured, or they get cancers, heart attacks, strokes, things that are unexpected, that they're not going to be up the creek. And so this question puts that in their mind and gets them thinking about things that may help. And then you'll also want to ask these other questions, and these are going to be more for more advanced things, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But right now, I'll just bring it up. So number 11, if there was an emergency, do you have anything to pull from to help cover costs like 401ks, IRAs, mutual funds, money markets, or significant savings? This opens up a potential to help them move their money from a dangerous place over to an annuity if you do those. If not, you can get with someone on the team that does. And so these are going to open up possibilities and also let them know that there's going to be more than just the ACA plan that they're going to sign up for and that you're going to talk to them about. Okay, so what I'm going to do is jump into Health Sherpa real quick. I'm going to pull up a plan. We're going to take a look at the plan and see where we can add a supplement to take care of things that might be a concern to the client. So we're just going to say that this client is 41, just because that's my age and just makes it easier. And that they make about $40,000 a year, so that they get the savings here. But I do want to bring it down a little bit, only because I want to show the CSR. All right, so now we have the CSR, and then no tobacco user, and they're 41. Okay, so now we'll scroll down and we'll see the different plans here. Now, what we want to do is look for a silver plan, and that's because it's a CSR. And so now we're going to take a closer look at these plans. So we see the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. It's decent as doctor visits, specialist visits. It has a deductible and then $6,400 out of pocket. You see this one here, it has out of pocket max. This is basically one of those plans where once you meet the deductible, you're covered 100%. They're the same. And then you have this one with Ambetter 2, 3,000 deductible, and then out of pocket max is 6,400. So these two are going to be very similar. So what we'll do is look at the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. So what we're assuming here, because there's going to be a couple of assumptions that we're making. So the assumptions is I'm a 41-year-old man. I'm doing this for myself. So I don't really go to the doctor that often. I don't really have a set, primary care physician. I don't care. As long as there's doctors in network, it's good. I'm just looking to save money. That's the plan here. So $67.29 is going to be the cost for that. Great. Okay. So now what I'm worried about is that what happens if I go to the hospital? That's my main concern. So in the conversation, the way that this would come up would be, okay, so we'll just say Mr. Smith. So Mr. Smith, we have a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan here. It's $67.29. The way that this plan works is if you, and let me make this a little bigger for you guys here. So the way that this plan works is you have a $3,000 deductible and an out-of-pocket maximum of $6,400. So if you hit $6,400, you're going to be covered 100%. If you go to your primary care physician, it's $40. If you see a specialist, it's $80. And then if you go in for just a routine checkup, you don't have to pay anything out of pocket for that. Your generics are going to be $20. Your brand names are going to be $40. And then with the non-preferred and specialty brand names, those are going to be full price until you hit your deductible. And then after that, it'll be $80 or $350, depending on if they're non-preferred brand or specialties. Now, if you have x-rays, imaging, like CAT scans, PET scans, or MRIs, or blood work, you'll pay full price. After you hit the deductible, you pay 40% until you hit the out-of-pocket maximum. The same is the case with emergency rooms, ambulance, hospital stays, outpatient procedures, all of those you would pay full price and then 40% until you hit the out-of-pocket maximum. If you want to avoid that, instead of going into the emergency room, you can go to urgent care. That's $60. And then if you need physical rehabilitation after a surgery or something, that would be $40. Now, once you go through that, what I normally say, especially if the person says, "Hey, I have $200 that I can spend on health insurance." We'll just say that 41-year-old $200 that they can spend. I would then ask, like, hey, if you were hospitalized and unable to work and had to pay the $6,400, would you be okay? Or do you want me to see if there's something inexpensive that'll cover that cost for you? Now, a lot of times they're going to say yes. So one of the easiest things to do is, and I'm in UHOne, there'll be videos on how to log in and pull all this up in quote, so I'm not going to get into that. But what we're going to look at here is one of the best ways to go, which is the accident ProGap policy. Now, we'll view the plan, and then I'll just explain how you would explain this to the client. So right now, the way that this is set is it's set at $2,500 across the board, whether they go to the hospital, whether they have a critical illness, or they have an accident. Now, obviously, that's not enough coverage. It's 2253, but we're not going for what's cheapest. We're going for the best coverage that's within the client's budget. So what we're going to do is just jump back over here and look at it. So right now we have a $3,000 deductible that needs to be met and a 6,400 out of pocket maximum that's going to be met. And this will be hit anytime they get admitted to the hospital for the most part. Anytime I've ever seen that happen, if they're in the hospital a day or more, they're going to hit this. So now what we're going to do is just make changes so that it matches that. And what I always do is I just go for the out of pocket maximum. So in this case, we're going to try 10,000 first. That puts us at $50.01 with the 67.29. We are looking at $117.30. So we're well within that $200 that the client said that they can afford to spend. So now, when we go through this, you can go through everything with them if you want to, but you don't really need to. There is a brochure that you can look at here. So the way that you would explain this to the client is this. All right, Mr. Smith. So you said that you wanted to make sure that you did have some coverage for the $6,400. So we want to make sure that if you go into the hospital, you're not going to get a bill for that you're going to have to pay out of pocket while also trying to pay your other bills. What I was able to find for you, was a plan through United Healthcare called the Accident ProGap. Now, what this does is if you're in an accident or you have a critical illness, they're going to pay $10,000. So what will happen is you'll go into the hospital, you'll get your bill. Let's say that you were in there for 2 days, it'll be for 6,400 because that's your out-of-pocket maximum. Then you would submit that claim to United Healthcare and they're going to send you a check for $10,000. Now you can use that check to pay for the 6,400 that you owe, and then you get to keep the rest. Does that sound good? All right, great. Now, if you're in the hospital and it's just because of a sickness, but it's not a critical illness, it's not anything major, they'll also give you 2,500 for that. But this is primarily going to be to cover you in case of a serious accident or an unknown thing like a cancer, heart attack, stroke, that type of thing. You said you're in pretty good health, so I feel that this would be the best plan to put together with your Affordable Care Act plan through Blue Cross Blue Shield to make sure you have that full coverage that you're looking for without breaking the bank. Does that work for you? And I always say that, does that work for you? So that it allows for them to do tweaks if they need to. Now, what will usually happen here is they're going to say, yes, that's going to work for me. And from there, all you would need to do is just go ahead and do the applications. I typically do the Affordable Care Act application first and make sure that I have all the information and then just go ahead and plug that into the United Health one because that is, in my opinion, an easier application. It's quicker. But if you have multiple screens, you can do them both at the same time. But the key thing to remember here is that it's not complicated. It's not difficult. The key takeaway from this one is, and I'll just transition back over here, is that what you want to do is take a look at what this is, the out-of-pocket maximum, and then find the plan that is going to meet that here. And so if it was higher, great, you still have the 10,000 in coverage. If it was a lower out-of-pocket maximum, let's say it was 5,000, I would probably go with the 5,000. And what you want to do too is not give the client too many options either. So you need to be the professional. You need to be the one that makes the choices for them in a sense. So you want to make sure that you're not giving them too many choices. You want to make sure that they're not being overwhelmed. And the easiest way to do that is simply to look at what the budget is and then look at what their out-of-pocket maximum is and find the plan that's going to fit within their budget. And that's also going to cover their out-of-pocket maximum. Now, what if this is a hypothetical, what if their budget was only $100? So right now we're looking at $117.30 for those two things, but they tell you I can only do $100. Well, what you're going to do here is this is one of the few times that I actually give options. And the way that you phrase this is, all right, Mr. Smith, well, if you want to make sure that that out-of-pocket maximum is completely covered, the Accident ProGap plan is going to be $50.01, which brings us to $117.30. The next one down from that will be $33.54, and it would cover $5,000. So you would still have $1,400 left over. but we are within budget if you choose to do that. Now, which do you want to do? Do you want to make sure that it's all covered and you have a little bit money left over, or would you not mind paying an extra, $1,400 to save, roughly $17 a month? And then they're going to make a choice. You just stay quiet at that point. Don't say anything. Let them decide. Don't talk yourself out of anything, or don't talk them out of anything. Just go ahead and just wait. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to make the decision, and then at that point, that's a great choice. We'll go ahead and start the application now and get going. And if, let's say, they say, you know what, I just can't afford that $17 right now. Okay, that's completely fine. If down the road you do want to increase your coverage, just let me know. Give me a call, and we can go ahead and take care of that for you. So again, really simple. Just go ahead and look up the quote on the ACA on Health Sherpa, and we'll just jump back over here. You'll go ahead and look at the plans that are available. Once you go ahead and select the plan, you'll want to look at what their out-of-pocket maximum is, and then you'll just want to find the plan that is going to cover that out-of-pocket maximum. Simple as that. And now you have two policies that you've helped this client with, so that if something happens to them, they're not going to wonder, hey, what am I going to do about this $6,400 bill while I'm also trying to pay my bills while I'm in the hospital? So I hope this helped everybody out. We'll do a lot more of these, especially with the different products and showing how they all fit together. We'll throw in some dental and vision. We'll throw in some life insurance, and we'll do some role play with some of the agents. Really looking forward to that, and looking forward to growing as a team. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any questions, make sure that you leave a comment or send a message. Talk to you again soon.